Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Into the Red Rabbit Hole. I'm Nighthawk, your host, and I'll be talking with you for the next 30 to 45 minutes about a couple different things. But first off, I want to do all the announcements. The copyright disclaimer: this channel may use some copyrighted materials without specific authorization of the owner, but contents that it falls under the Fair Use Act, the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk High Strangeness podcast channel and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content to be used for the sole purpose of informing you, the viewing family, of information for educational purposes, general knowledge, criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, and parody. Per Title 17, subsection 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known as the Fair Use Act. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Let me see what I'm going to put on the screen next. I think I'll flip everybody out. There we go. That ought to look pretty good. Anyways, the eye. The window to the soul. Don't you think? You know, since day one, I have been trying to get across to certain individuals that whenever you're seeing a cryptid creature with red glowing eyes, you're not seeing a specific cryptid creature. You're seeing a demonic cryptid creature. Okay. And there is a difference. Okay. There is a difference. Okay. Some of these cryptids that we deal with were here a long time, as long as we've been here and longer. Okay. They just haven't been recognized by science because science refuses to admit it. Anyways, that I wanted to get off my chest right away. Okay. But our topic tonight is about the synthetic humans, the cloning, the AI, literally just all the weird shit that CERN's done to our world. And you know, when we talk about synthetic cloning, or I mean synthetic, like an android type of a being, you're talking. They have been made since 1930s. Okay, I'm not exactly sure when. I think it was 1933 when they first started making synthetic beings. Okay, now, you know, some people would say, well, what do you mean by synthetic being? Do you mean android, robot, or, you know, a hybrid? What? No, what I mean is exactly what it says, synthetic being. Okay, it is a being that is manufactured, okay, in groups, okay, and they interact with each other of the group. Okay, they can acknowledge each other, the group, and they can acknowledge outside the group too, and carry on conversations, and you know, all that type of stuff. They can even work next to you, and you wouldn't even know it. Except, and this is except, you touch their cold plastic skin. Yes, I said plastic. A lot has happened since the 1930s. We've gotten so good in our military industrial complex that they are developing cryptid creatures on their own too. That's why they've been rounding them up in certain secluded federal game lands. Okay, Yosemite is a big one. For rounding up the Sasquatch and all that in that area in Dogmen. Alaska is another one, especially around Mount Hayes. Let's see, the Bayou. Yeah, brothers and sisters in the Bayou, you got to watch your backs because they have something down there on the 30th parallel that is basically making hybrids. Okay, Now, to what degree are they making the hybrids? We don't know. Okay. But they are making hybrids. I mean, our government and military have always been looking for that one special super soldier that when it got done with a mission, it would either annihilate itself so it wouldn't be found out, or it would return back to the fold of its commanding officer, giving it the orders, and be trained like a puppy dog. Okay. But with a killer instinct. Now, the other thing, too, when we're dealing with the synthetic beings, is we're not talking the robotic movements and stuff like that, because they've already engineered way past the robotic movements, and you know what I mean by robotic movement, a cold, stiff type of a movement of a limb, or even a certain look. This is a synthetic being getting its face put on. Okay. Notice the teeth. Notice the inside of the mouth, how it's basically not a non-existent color that should be in there. Okay, it's kind of like a grayish to a light pink tint. Okay, notice the eyes, that constant glare, kind of like what I had during radiation treatment. Anyways, the hair, I mean, you can't really tell that is a synthetic being, except that it is in the final stages of having its exterior put on, as I should say. Exterior like eyelashes, eyebrows, any distinguishing marks that could make it look more human. I've even seen them come out with tattoos. So, that being said, I would not want to be the tattoo artist and screw that one up. Now, as we talk about a lot on this channel, we talk a lot about certain types of beings and certain types of organizations that control this world that we live in. And control is the key word, okay? Because nobody controls this world except currently, right now, it is Lucifer. Okay? Because when Jesus walked the earth, he told Lucifer himself, you are not only the sacred being of this world, or you are the God of this world. You are not the prince of this world. You are the God of this world. Okay? That's what Jesus told Lucifer. Okay? Until his Father returns. Okay? Until the All Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, returns. Okay? Now, that's based on the biblical translation of the Bible. Okay, as far as that goes. And we have Sumerian texts that basically talk about the same thing, but they're called Enlil and Enki. Okay, and Enki is supposed to represent the good God, and Enlil is supposed to represent the stern, wants to just control mankind or get rid of mankind altogether. Okay, so it's kind of that good cop, bad cop type of mentality we're dealing with. Okay, so, but this picture right here is not a creation of a man and a woman. This is a creation of science. They have huge places in Japan that strictly make synthetic beings. Excuse me, I'm trying to breathe and talk, which is kind of difficult. Anyways, specific places in Japan that make, and they're making like literally dozens of these a day, okay, if not hundreds. And they're making them realistic, okay, which is never good, okay. Now, where do we fit in all this? Well, what would you believe if I said that we are and will always be subservient to the world, that the world that is being controlled? Okay, here's one you all will get a kick out of. Yeah, we're talking reptilians, and you know, this is the thing with the reptilian race. Okay, there are some that are extraterrestrial. There are some that are terrestrial. They come from under our feet, okay, or in the water, and there are some that are interdimensional. Okay, so you have all these things working together. Okay, I'm a firm believer that when it came to Enki and Enlil, as far as the Anunnaki go, they created this being first, which turned out to be a human, lizard, or reptile hybrid. Okay. Now, they have existed just as long, if not longer, than mankind. Well, you know, I mean, depending on what story you're following. Okay. So, that being said, reptiles walking on two legs, able to disguise themselves as human beings. Most people would say that's bullshit. Well, I'm telling you right now, it's not bullshit. Okay. If you researched it, truly researched it, you would know that this is actually for real. Okay. Then you throw in the mix, you know, the whole AI thing lately. The AI thing is just, it's gone off the deep end already. I mean, it's getting so we can't even distinguish. We can't even distinguish photographs that are real and photographs that are hoax. You know, I mean, seriously, we are having a hard time recognizing the fraudulent aspects of our field. And that being said, I really have been trying, probably ticked a few people off too this past week, but I've been trying to emphasize the difference between these beings, let's say, okay? The difference between us and them, the difference between our world and the world that they're walking in, the worlds that they come from. You know, one thing that I have a hard time dealing with is a lot of our legends, especially legends of my people, talk about these cryptid creatures basically forming in fire and and walking out from the smoke of a fire, you know, and all of a sudden standing right there in front of you. You know, these legends are based on some proof of fact. Okay. These aren't just bullshit legends that are passed down from generation to generation just to keep people afraid. Okay. They're given for a purpose. They're to teach our young ones to always be on their guard, to never wander off alone, especially at night. Okay. Always be on your guard. Something that we as people need to realize. We need to start using all of our senses again. You know, obviously, the powers that be don't want us to use our senses because what did it tell us? It would tell us that there's more around us every day than we are seeing and hearing. Okay. We should be able to feel it. We should be able to smell it. We should be able to taste it on our lips like the morning dew. Okay. You will be able to distinguish other things in the world when you hone these abilities that you have been given. Okay. And the only reason we have forgotten about our past and our actual insane ability to do things is because the powers that be, the Rockefellers, the, the Clintons, the Obamas, the Rothschilds, the, you know, and on and on and on. I mean, I can go on. The Cheneys, you know, they're all actually bloodline connected, cousins of cousins of cousins. You know what I mean? And we all know the royal family that believed in basically getting it on with their own. So that's a pretty mogue point on that aspect of the whole reptilian thing. The Germanic bloodline is the reason that I'm bringing this up. Okay, now back before 1933, there was a UFO crash in the Black Forest. Okay, and there was one in 38, I believe, also 1938. But the one before 1933, I think it was in 32, in October of 32, when it crashed. And it crashed on a remote farm, not necessarily in the Black Forest, but on a farm. You notice the next day when the military showed up and they actually found the crash site, that whole family was missing. Yeah, the whole family was missing. Okay. Now, several years later, they were seen again, and they just couldn't remember where they were from. But everybody that recognized this farming family, the ones that went to school with the German girl, and the parents of all the other kids that were around that area of the farmlands, knew their parents of the girl. They said something was off about them. Sometimes they would show up and their clothes would be on backwards or inside out, almost like they couldn't remember how to dress themselves. Okay. Which part of the garment was on the outside and which part of the garment was on the inside. They didn't talk unless spoken to. In other words, they would walk right past you. If they knew you, they wouldn't even recognize you. They wouldn't acknowledge you. Okay. These are all attributes of cloning and synthetic humans. They can try to project this emotion, the sadness and the joyfulness looks and stuff that we all have, but it still comes off phony and plastic. Okay, it's kind of like trying to use an over balance credit card at a convenience store. When you want to get $20 worth of gas in your car and you can't because you only got $1 and something on your credit card. That's kind of what you're dealing with these synthetic humans and the cloning. When they first are done, it's a learning process. Okay. And if they're not exposed to the human influence at an early stage, then they're going to come off awkward or rude, basically socially unacceptable. Okay. Kind of like the robots. Now, when it comes down to the robotics aspect of it and the AI, I think we're doomed. I mean, I'm asked this all the time too. Everybody that comes to me online, I'm asked this a lot, almost overwhelmingly a lot. What can be done about AI? Well, if those of you that follow the podcast know that I have said from day one that the government only it discloses to us and the powers that be only disclose certain things to us at certain times when it benefits them. Okay. And that is the truth when it benefits them. Okay. If they feel that you have a need to know about, say, the cellular phone, they could have brought that out back in the 30s and showed you it when they had it. And they did have it back in the 30s. My God, they were making synthetic human beings in the 30s before World War II. So It's not far-fetched. And when you see these time travelers, that's part of the basic technology of the time that they had. Okay. They've had synthetic beings being made at 1933 to today. They had cloning that started in the late 60s, early 70s. Okay. It didn't start just the other day or just last year. They've been doing it since at least the early 70s. Okay. Now, you picture that with the whole missing persons agenda thing. So you can chalk some of it up to wildlife, whether it's mountain lion, grizzly bears. Hell, I'll even throw Sasquatch in there. Okay, some of them may be Sasquatch abducted. Who knows? Some of them might be alien abducted. Who knows? Okay, but the one thing that most of them had, except for one state, all of the lower 48 states, out of every 100,000 population, only 8.4 humans were missing a year in each state. Okay. They ranged from 8.0 to 8.8 in each state. Okay. The one state that ranked 48 missing people in 1 year out of 100,000 was Alaska. Now, why is that? Well, the remoteness. We can give it that one. Definitely the remoteness. And the fact that this little secret club here called the Central Intelligence Agency, which I use that term intelligent very delicately, they kind of want it set up that way. They are the hands controlling the Barbie dolls and the Ken dolls, and we are the Barbie and the Ken dolls, folks. I guarantee they've got their hands into everything, Hollywood included. Now, let's talk a little bit about how they're trying to lengthen humanity's duration of life expectancy. Okay, they're doing it with the cloning. When they want somebody to last forever, they transfer their consciousness to a computer chip and insert that computer chip into the basic brain stem of the human robot hybrid, and it gives them their consciousness from body form to body form. Okay, no matter what that body form is. Then we have science coming up with stuff like this: the limitless pill, proven to boost brain function and memory. Okay, I can't even begin to tell you what's wrong with this, because as soon as you start screwing around with the brain, and trust me, I know this very, very well, you start screwing around with the brain and you make the slightest mistake, there's no coming back. Okay? There's literally no coming back from that. The limitless pill. It's amazing. Let me go to the comments here and say hello to everybody. I know I'm just recuperating, everybody, so please bear with me, okay? I'm trying. I'm really, really trying. You can ask my wife Tracy. She if it wasn't for her, nothing would have gotten done this past week. That's for sure. Overbuilt, good to see you. Roger, good to see you. Stuart, good to see you. Yolanda, good to see you. Okay, Aussie Sue, good to see you. Dave, good to see you. David Lester. Let's see, what's this? Saw a really good fake Bigfoot video tonight. It was too good, not blurry at all. Yeah, you got to understand something, when it comes to faking it, the clearer ones are the ones that we got to look out for. So anybody can, it's like that class A picture of a ghost, it's going to take tremendous amount of skill and even more and good luck to even get that picture. So talk about being in the right place at the right time. That's exactly what it is. Scott, good to see you. Good to see you. And again, I'm sorry, folks. My voice is already starting to go on me. So I'm going to do this as long as I can. Okay. That's one of the reasons why I have Eric with me on the weekend shows, and then Carlito's usually on this show, but we usually do this on a Friday night. But I wanted to do it tonight to kind of do a test run on my voice and to see how I felt. So, but yeah, Yolanda, good night. Probably too late, but Woo Train, how we doing? Okay. Now what we're going to talk about here, we're going to get back into it. Let me get back over to these pictures here, okay? And I'll get back to the comments here. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I apologize. The whole Matrix thing is amazing because basically our government's been messing with us for the longest time. The world that we live in isn't everything it is, okay, that it's made out to be with us, okay? How do I want to explain this? Is I got to explain it in a way that you'll understand it and you'll understand why it's the way it is. Okay, I'm going to start from the beginning. All right. What's the first thing they tell you when you pass? When you cross over, do they tell you to go to the light? Yes, they do. They tell you to look for the light. The light is the golden gates opening up in heaven, and they're going to welcome you in. St. Peter's going to be standing there with his clipboard and checking your name off. Yeah. What if I told you that the light was to recycle your soul? Just grasp that for a moment, okay? To recycle your soul. See, in order to do that, they have to be almost godlike themselves to recycle your soul, okay? But they have figured out how to do it, okay? Now, when I was growing up, my dad used to tell me, he'd say, son, look at that sky. See all those stars in that sky? Some of them aren't stars. Some of them are portals to other dimensions. And some of those stars are where your essence came from. I used to think, my essence? You mean my soul? And he'd say, yeah, your soul. Whenever somebody tells you to go to the light and you go into the light, you're coming right back into this world. Okay? How do I know that? Well, I've been I've been soul cycled a few times. Let's put it that way. Um, Let me see here what we got going on. Yep, yeah, definitely old technology. Yeah, they're not going to show us anything until they want us to know it. And a lot of those older films of the one with the woman talking on a cell phone in the 1920s, or whatever, 1928, I think it was, or something like that. That's a real cell phone. I mean, they've had that stuff for a while now. Okay. Only when they release it to the public do they acknowledge it, though. Okay. So we're like pretty close to 100 years behind in what we know, that the 1% of the 10% of the elitist already know, of that shadow government already know, of the military industrial complex already know. Okay. And they've known a long time, but yet they keep it from us. It's kind of like a reason they want to disarm everybody, you know? Yep. Yeah, Alaska, Wu Train is definitely number one state in the United States per population for missing people. But yeah, for every 100,000, there was 40, I think they said anywhere from 44.8 to 48.6 missing people a year in Alaska. And I'm not talking the ones that are taken by wild game and stuff like the mountain lion or the grizzly bears or the polar bears. You know, I'm not talking about them. I'm not even talking about the ones that are taken by Sasquatch and all that up there, okay? Or any other cryptid creature that's in Alaska, which there probably is quite a bit. I'm talking the ones where the bodies never come back. They never have a trace of them being on this earth again. And sometimes they're found, their clothing in a pile, and their shoes and their clothing are stacked nice and neatly in a pile, tucked away under a pine tree. Well, where'd they go all butt naked then? Must have been one hell of a Wu Train ride. That's what I can say. Griff, good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Juno, my brother. Wu Train, there's someone you got to get to know. It's my brother Juno. Anyways, I'm starting to lose my voice even more now. But getting back to the whole, missing person thing, that's why they're doing the synthetic beings. They're trying to replicate us too. Okay. And the more of us they can replicate, the more they have to control and to help control the population. You see, my father told me that when we die, we don't know it, but we're given choices. Okay. And I believe this. Don't get me wrong. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I do. But I do believe we are given choices upon our death. Now, how do I not get my soul recycled back to this world where it sucks and that I really, really despise? I merely turn around and face the dark. Yes, I said turn around and face the dark. Why, you say? Because if you're facing the light, you will never, ever see what's behind you, because the light is so bright and brilliant and warm and soothing. That's to entice you to come back to this world, to recycle your soul. Now, there's many people out there that believe that that is the truth, and all. Most of Area 51 whistleblowers say the technology will be over 100 years old further than we know. Yes, I basically just said that too. Um, you know, hey Glades, how we doing? Starting to really get hoarse, guys. Recycling our souls, and a certain somebody that's a billionaire is trying to circumvent the whole having to die and leave your body and come back as an infant again. I think you all know who I'm talking about. He owns Neuralink. He owns SpaceX. He owns Tesla. And he owns Google. And he owns X. Elon Musk. When Elon's mother was asked one time in an interview if her son was the Antichrist, she gave a little chuckle and she said, "No, he's not the Antichrist." And the news reporter took a step back and goes, "Well, then what relationship would he have?" And she very plainly stated to the news reporter and to the people watching that her son was the one to introduce the Antichrist. Chew on that for a while. There is and will always be a hunger for certain beings and families wanting our souls, whether it's to recycle into stronger, better gold mining servants, or servants in general, or whether it's to manufacture food like cattle, we don't know. All we can do is speculate at this current time. Okay, we're a dying breed, people. And my hat goes off to everybody that has been fighting their shadow governments across the world, especially in France and even Germany. And I hope the UK brothers and sisters wake up too, because I got a funny feeling that their king is going to do something to really, really harm humanity very, very soon. So, but anyways, that's a whole nother podcast there. Let me tell you. Okay. Now, back to the whole soul recycling. It's no wonder that there is a company out there called CERN. See, CERN was introduced to us as looking for the God particle. Well, they've already found that particle, okay? They've already done that with the world's largest hadron collider, okay? They've already done it. So now what have they been doing? They've been opening up portals to other dimensions, portals to other times. This stuff from the other dimensions and the other times bleeds over into our world. And bleeding over is the only way I can describe it. but they are literally bleeding over into our world because the veil is so thin. Okay, the veil is like a sheet of water. Picture that waterfall and that sheet of water coming down. Looks like you're looking through a warped piece of glass when you're underneath the waterfall, out at the ground and stuff. It looks really weird. That's what we're talking about. The veil of being so thin. Okay. So it's not taking much to get these other beings, we call them cryptids, or whatever you want to call them, aliens that matter, to come from another dimension. It's not hard at all, especially when you have CERN doing the dirty work. Okay. Another agency you got to watch out for too, guys, that is doing a lot with portals is NASA, otherwise known as Satan. S-A, the red line is the T-A-N, Satan. And another way you can confirm that says Satan is that red slash mark represents the number 7. And what is so special about the number 7? The number 7 is the number of God. Okay. So anything to mock God is what Satan wants to do. Okay. Now, when I talk about the Anunnaki, we have to remember that all around the world, we have doorways, we have portals, we have staircases that have no meaning except to see a god walk up them, unlike these ants that you see on these steps. Yeah. A lot of theories about this world, folks, but the one thing you can believe in, and I'll tell it to you right now, the one thing you can believe in is that we are manufactured for a purpose. We are soul recycled for a purpose. To stop the cycle, all we have to do is stand up and fight. So, do we continue to take the red pill? Or should we take there's the red pill, okay, the limitless pill. Or do we take the blue pill? I don't know. I don't think we want our society to become this. If our souls are recycled, I would hope that let's just say I would hope that our souls aren't just sacrificed for nothing. Okay. And I'm starting to get real short of breath. So bear with me, everybody. Okay. So we have the synthetic beings that are being made since the 1930s, 1933 to be exact. We have the AI, robotic, engineered being, whether you call them a synthetic being or not, or whether you just call them an AI robot. I mean, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be dangerous to us. Okay, plain and simple. They're going to be dangerous to us. Okay. Everything that's falling into place right now with this world is happening because our governments, the shadow government, is manipulating it. Okay? Everything that they do, they manipulate. They catch flies and they pull the wings off the fly and then they throw it on the table and watch it hop around. Then they kill it. And why did they kill it? It frightened them. But they created it. By pulling the wings off the fly, they created it. And it scared them. And they kill it. That's the same mentality they have with us. That's why they want to engineer all these coughs and diseases into our world. Something like 90% of every disease in our world currently is created in a lab by science. 90%. It's kind of like when you're in the military. When I was in, they lined us up in a row, no shirt on, a shotgun in this arm, a shotgun in this arm. And no, I don't mean a 12 gauge. I mean a gun that's loaded with like 9 needles, and you get a shot in this arm up here and a shot in this arm over here. Okay. They were telling us it was shots for like malaria and typhoid fever, yellow fever. What was some of the other ones? An antigen for ricin. There's all kinds of different things that they gave us. There's a lot that we don't even know they gave us. So hell, we could have nanobots in our body right now for all we know. But and that's a whole nother story too, nanobots. But yeah, the world that we live in is a soul cycle world. Okay. We are given numbers in this world when we're born. Okay. And on the back of that form, you notice how birth certificates don't say mother or father. Okay. Because are they truly our mother and father? Okay. There was a young person that came forward a while, I think it was like 10 years ago, came forward, a young girl, and she said that her mother and father weren't her parents, that her parents came from like Pleiades or someplace like that. And she described them, to a T, to a point to where an artist could render, the drawings of her parents, her real parents, and her artificial parents, or whatever you want to call them, step parents, here on Earth, accepted it for that. They accepted her for that, and acknowledged that, And this girl, she got straight A's. She was like the top of her class. She talked about 4.0, smarts. She had it. But she always claimed to be from Pleiades, word quirks and stuff, to kind of substantiate that claim. So never really got along with anybody, just basically walked through life, as quickly as possible. Let me see. People don't know, but then Nikola Tesla, science organized. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Here's another one for you with the Nobel Peace Prize. Did you know that Obama got it for declaring basically space as ours and asking Putin to back off? And he did, just goes to show you Putin's not altogether, that bad of a person to make an agreement with. So, but anyways, that's a whole nother can of worms to open up. I'm still a believer that we didn't win World War II. I'm a firm believer of that. God bless my father. God rest his soul. The man, he came out of World War II with 3 Purple Hearts, and he was giving 2 more after he was out, that he earned while he was in. He was on D-Day. I mean, I've got all the newspaper clippings and stuff from D-Day and all that to prove what I'm saying. He was the middleweight boxing champion for the entire military during that time. And, Patton was one of his best buddies, General Patton, because Patton liked my old man because he won money on my dad from boxing. Okay. So I guess that's where I get that streak from. But anyways, folks, I'm going to end it there tonight. Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm just not in order for me to keep going tomorrow, morning, not tomorrow morning, the Saturday morning, I'm going to need to get some rest. So with that, I'm just going to end it, and we'll talk more about this. This was just kind of a chat session. Okay. If you guys can, please like, heart, and share this out. YouTube has taken away 6 of my subscribers. They're trying to cut me down below 500 again. So please go back to YouTube and see if you're still subscribed and hit that bell icon. Okay. So when I come live, you'll be there. Okay. There's a lot of other things we got to discuss before I leave this world. And, I'm going to be doing a Bigfoot special. Because I gotta kind of tell you what happens being Native American and dealing with the whole Bigfoot and cryptid creature scenario. Okay. So we'll be getting into that. I think I have that scheduled for the 26th of February. But I'll let you know. No, Ozzy Sue, thank you very much, dear. Thank you. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that, though. I appreciate that. But I will see you all Saturday morning. Hopefully Eric will be there too. We'll see how my voice is. And, God bless you guys. Question everything. Okay. You have a right to question everything. All right. Watch your 6. Okay. Watch your back. Stay strong. And stay in touch, because we are a family. Weirdo Warrior Army. Remember that. So stay in touch, everybody. Much love. And I will see you all Saturday morning. Okay. Take care.